All right, we are figuring out how to fix the footage counter arm on an Eclair NPR magazine. Took it a fair ways apart tonight and learned quite a bit about it. So the first important thing to know, which I think is why this broke, is that you cannot add more tension to the arm just by moving it to a different orientation on this shaft. It loosens down here. I need a screwdriver to point. It loosens with these two screws down here. But you can't just loosen it on this shaft and move it to add more tension. It doesn't work like that. It may look like if you go in here to the gear train that there's a gear in there under normal operation. The issue is if we come to the other side, this is that gear. It's not a full gear. It's just like a slice, 90-degree slice of a gear. And you have to use that gear in a certain motion range. So changing the relation of the arm on the shaft to this partial gear is a bad idea. It can end up running into this belt drive for the take-up spool. And the other thing it can do, which I'm pretty sure is what happened in this case, is that somebody tried to add more tension by the method I described, and they ended up bending the spring. And then everything was completely out of alignment. So if you don't have enough tension in your arm, the first thing to do is to clean and lubricate everything and see if that helps enough. The second thing is to come into this side. You have to remove this plate, which is all the screws around it in those holes, plus the screw that goes here also goes through that. It slips under here, so once you've got all the screws out, you sort of shimmy it this way and then lift it out. It'll basically come out like that. So if you still don't have enough tension, you're going to have to take this wheel out via this screw right there. That's the screw there.
That's the spring one.
Oh, that's the spring one?
Yeah.
That's the spring screw. The screw for this is under the, I think it's under the plate currently. So it is under here, I believe.
Nope.
No, where is that? That is it.
That is it. Where's the one for the spring then?
The one for the spring's
Oh, that's not, that doesn't go through, you're right.
Yeah, the spring is on this shaft.
So that is the screw.
So you can bend a little bit more angle into your spring to get some springiness back and then put this back in here. It's a bit of a dance with taking this guide wheel out and holding the belt out of the way and rotating that around such that it comes out. You can see here there's a little standoff screw. This holds the end loop of the spring, and then the other end of the spring you can see is looped around this partial gear here. So you want to get it so there's a nice decent amount of tension. Technically this, if it were not under tension, would sit back behind this gear just a little bit. You have to kind of get it in there and pull it out and screw this in. And it stops against this, that's why that's tall. So if you let that go, we can see it.
It's hitting we have the plastic thing on there right now.
So with this gear zeroed out on this stop there,
If we take this off.
If we take that off, that's where it should land. So you can actually hear it hitting right there. And that's essentially zero, there's nothing. If you had a spool load, pretty much everybody uses core loads these days. But even down there, you want there to be some tension in it. If it's lost its tension down here, you gotta clean everything and retension your screw. The next thing is the relationship between that partial gear in there. You can see it down in there. And where's the other part of the gear train? Somewhere here. Here, this piece. So you can see that the silver gear on this shaft is going to interact with those small teeth on that partial 90-degree gear there. And the large bevel gear, it interacts with up in there, that bevel gear. That's this gear train right here. So that's what runs the actual footage counter discs. It drives this first disc, which is actually geared to drive the secondary disc.
Now, what was the alignment between these?
Yeah, before you take those out, you want to take a picture of how they mesh, so they're aligned correctly. And then once you've set tension, when you put this back in, all you want to do is you want to get the gears lined to each other correctly.
I don't know if that's right.
I think it may be, but whether it's right or not is inconsequential. Obviously, we have to secure these discs to the shafts with screws. You're going to want your 0. You're going to want to set them to 0 where this plate, where's our indicator plate? The little clear one.
Clear one?
I don't know where I have it. There it is. It's clear. It's hard to see. So you want that indicator line to be over the 0 when the arm in the magazine is down on the spool all the way, not up, down. And then all you're going to do when it's all set at 0.
I think we have the wrong 0.
We have the wrong 0.
So the outer one is feet. So if we're looking at this 0, it should be this one.
So that'll line up like that. You want to make sure to hold the orientation of these. The spring will hold this on the spool, and then this gear should be able to drop in, and that will set the relationship between the arm being down on the spool and the indicators being at 0, so that you know when your film runs all the way down and out, it'll read 0 here every time. And it's a good idea. These little plates you can see are kind of used. You can see a little bit of wetness there because we put some clock oil in. You want to oil the ends of your shafts, these little running surfaces there. This passes through right to this other side. So there's the opposite side of it right there. You can undo these screws. You need like a fine jeweler's type screwdriver for all of this. These standard hardware store ones are too beefy. They're too thick. So you can see on one of these, we actually had to grind it down in order to fit.
Really thin
That's the thin, like jeweler's one that works a little bit better. So I don't know that I've seen any resources video-wise of anybody kind of talking through this, how you would fix this. Hopefully that is helpful. And then reassembly is just sort of the opposite of disassembly with some lubrication along the way.